I love football.
I bloody love football, don't I?
Back of the net.
Desire, hungry, and a lot of times I use the word horny to my players.
When we make clean sheet, I pay to everybody a pizza.
No, you have to make a decision in relation to that, because I need to know from you what is the most important thing, if it is to play well or if it is to win matches.
We've shown wonderful character this week.
Hey, very welcome along to Post Sport, our DLR Waves season preview. As always, we'll be back in the Waves this season. We're the DLR Waves Ultra Supporters Club, and we have one of our favourite players on, Avril Brierley. Did I say your name right this time?
You did, yes. Every time we seem to be getting better and better, so good stuff.
I'll probably pronounce it differently later in the podcast. Usually I kind of switch it up a bit. Season's coming around. This time last season you were idle in the first round, but how are you feeling ahead of the first game?
Really good. It's great to get a home draw, I think, as well. The first game of the season, it's always nice to have the first game in front of our home fans, and hopefully be a full stadium, because I think last year was still quite COVID, so we'd no supporters and we'd no one in the stands and stuff, so it feels a lot more normal this time around. The pre-season went to plan. I think we had about 9 weeks pre-season. So yeah, it's all great, but we kind of want to get the season started, just so something to train for and something that all the running can be put to good use, I suppose.
I'd say there's almost a bit of anxiety. You just want to get started. You're probably sick of training now and just want to go out there and play a match at this stage.
Yeah, exactly. And thankfully, the pre-season was pretty jam-packed with pre-season friendlies, which was great. So we'd 2 or 3 against teams in the league, and then we kind of a couple amongst ourselves with our 17s and 19s mixed in with our seniors and stuff. So although the training sessions were tough midweek, we always kind of had something to aim towards for the weekend, which is exactly how the season goes. So, but yeah, it's always great when you have something kind of more competitive to look forward to. But yeah, there is definitely anxiety. I'll probably sound like a broken record, but like the competition again, I didn't think it could up any more than last year, but it has again with all the new signings and people coming back and stuff. So people are anxious to see what the starting 11 is going to look like at the weekend. Like, people have worked really, really hard. So there's a bit of anxiety about that as well. But yeah, we've only a couple more days to go, so we'll wait and see.
Healthy competition, it seems like, because you have one of the bigger squads and you could nearly make 2 starting 11s that are pretty decent and could have a decent run at the season, because you look at it, there's going to be some good players who don't even make the bench. It seems like it's a group that all gets on and there's not going to be kind of anyone falling out over it, but it's going to be a challenge this season to kind of keep spirits high, I suppose, just because there's going to be players who inevitably don't get to play every week. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's one thing that you do notice, and it's a natural thing. In pre-season, the morale is really high because in all the friendlies, everyone's getting 50, 60 minutes where they can. But when you come into the season, obviously, it's about trying to get into the starting 20, never mind the starting 11. So that's when you do find that it's very natural that spirits would drop and stuff. But no, I think the kind of cohesion and the spirit that we brought from last year, because the majority of the players have re-signed and we've 5 or 6 new heads as well. So has never really been a theme of major upsets within the camp, within the season. So I can't expect that to change. And like that, some of the veterans of the teams, we've made it our goal and our mission to keep the spirits high, because at the end of the day, it is a team sport, although we all want to be playing our role. It's just as important that if I might be injured next week, so-and-so might be injured the week after that, regardless of whether you're on the pitch, on the bench, or in the stands, we're all aiming towards the same thing, So I think if we put egos aside and kind of look at the bigger picture, it keeps the perspective in as the main kind of core focus, I suppose,
You mentioned before, I remember when we were talking to you, you kind of feel like you're one of the older players in the group, even though, because most of the team are quite young, and it seems like there are that group of leaders, yourself, Catherine Cronin, Jess Gleeson, Eve Madana, a few others who are kind of the leaders in the team, almost the leadership group, and who kind of have to, I suppose, set the example for the younger players.
Yeah, And we all take up different roles within that. You know, we'd have the mammy of the group, we'd have the one who ensures everyone was wearing the right gear, that people are showing up on time for training. So the kind of core group of us, we all have different roles within the team. I was dropping we'd all gone for lunch after one of our pre-season friendlies the other day, and I was dropping one of the girls back to Lewis stop, and she was a new signing. And I was just shooting the breeze, and I was like, "Oh, like, are you working? Are you studying?" And she was like, "I'm in 5th year." And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "I am withering away here." So, you know, those are the things, I suppose, no one, when they come up to a new club, you don't really ask, like, "How old are you?"
Yeah.
Like, "Are you in school?" You just kind of, because everyone is just there for the same reason, to play football. So all the other demographics and stuff kind of goes out the window. And it's not until you're sitting there and having a bite to eat and you're talking about other things other than football that you realise that there's so many young girls within the team. And I've said this before, I was in that position once upon a time. I was the young kid coming up to training, and the example that the older people sets you off. And if you see me showing up 15 minutes late to train with the wrong gear, you're like, "Oh, I'm sure that's okay if I do that." Whereas if the younger kids can see that we're all up, we're doing our activation, our band work when we're supposed to be, it sets a pretense that this is how the team works, this is how it functions. And you just have to respect the way that Graham and John and the team have built that kind of look the way that we have. We're very professional in the way that we handle things. That it's not just on match day, that's from training, and those are things that people don't really see. So I'd say a couple of the new signings were probably a little bit surprised about how by the book we play things, but that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted for ourselves. That's what we wanted for the club, and the lads and the committee have all provided. So but yeah, it's important that rules are adhered to and examples are set, and that it starts from the top down, really, you know.
I'm worried that you said you're withering away because I'm a couple of years older than you, so I don't know what that makes me. But
we're on our last legs here, I swear to God. Yeah.
I won't ask you what you're going to do when you retire, but you mentioned pre-season there. You scored a couple in pre-season. We gave you the name Briar Lewandowski. That's probably a wrong name because you're not exactly a centre forward. Avril Brierley is a hard one to pronounce. So we need to come up with a different name for you in that kind of deep-lying central position. Do you prefer playing out wide? Do you prefer playing in the number 9, false 9 role, or kind of the number 10?
So this pre-season, I've actually had quite a good bit of joy as the striker. So usually last season I was playing more so in the 10 role. But I've been playing up front for a couple of the pre-seasons, and yeah, I've been scoring goals. I've been in good goal scoring opportunities, assisting and stuff. So I feel good within myself. I feel really fit. I feel like I'm understanding more of the positional roles that strikers take up. And because I suppose one of the good things between most of our attacking players is that most of us can play in the 9 and the 10. And the way Graham's system works is that there can be quite a bit of a rotation. So if I'm up top, but it suits me to drop in and look for a ball in the 10, I can do so knowing that the number 10 there is coming in behind me and is staying up high. So it gives us all a little bit of freedom that we can kind of interchange between our positions. But I like the 10. I think the 10 suits me in the sense that my range of passing is quite good and I have good visuals of the pitch. So being a little bit deeper suits me in that sense. But I'm loving it. I'm loving up top scoring goals. That's what it's all about, really. That's what Graham wants. That's what the team wants. So if I can be the provider of that, then I have no complaints.
Yeah, last season there was quite a range of goal scorers. I think Carla McManus was the top scorer in the team with 6, but you had a lot of other players getting on the score sheet from around between deeper midfielders, wingers, defenders. You had a fair few different players, so it seems like everyone's capable of getting a goal. We're not maybe going to have one 20-goal striker, but we're going to have a good few getting 5 or 6.
Yeah, and what's great as well is Niamh Barnes. She's not here with us now. With herself and Jess, they're such a threat from set pieces. Whereas I wouldn't really consider myself a huge threat as a set piecer, but it's great that we have the flexibility that we can bring in our centre backs that can nick us a couple of goals when we're in set piece positions. And then we've got people that just have great strikes of the ball, like Katie Malone. She can hit shots from 40, 50 yards out. Rachel Doyle, great goal scorer from free kicks. And even with the new players coming in this year, Mia Dodd, just great strike of the ball. Sophie, and even our wingers this year, it's probably the most goals we've been scoring in the last couple of years, which is great because people are feeling a bit more confident in front of goal, and we're getting in better positions where we can, kind of convert chances a bit more. So yeah, it's great that the goal it can be shared evenly amongst the teams. We're not just hell-bent dependent constantly on our striker to be scoring goals, and everyone else just kind of runs around after them. It's not really how it works. So we're lucky in that sense that we can kind of hopefully maximise on all areas of the pitch when it comes to creating chances,
Yeah, and creating chances wasn't really an issue last season. We talked about the goal at the start of last season, and it was all about finishing that top four, something that hadn't been done in a long time with DLR Waves, or as they were previously known, UCD Waves. What about this season now? Is it go one step further, challenge for top three, challenge for the title? Are you even thinking that far? Is it just about get over Saturday now?
Yeah, last season we'd had a big conversation about setting goals and where we did want to finish. This year, it hasn't been so much as a sit down face to face conversation, but my understanding, and I think everyone else's is that we can win the league, and I don't think anyone is doubting us otherwise. I think we'd be silly to try and sell ourselves short and just hope for maybe a top three finish this year, because if that's the case, would be hoping for winning the league in three seasons time. So I think the time is now for us. We do so much work behind the scenes. The girls work themselves to the ground, and we do everything so professionally. We do things how they should be. So we're looking from the standpoint of we think we're capable of winning the league. If we win the league and we go into Europe and we're playing against professional teams who train day in, day out together and prepare properly and eat properly and train with the best gear and the best facilities, that's what we should have in order to give ourselves the best opportunity for that. So it's great that we had gotten broken into the top four. As you said, it's never been done before for this club. But yeah, I don't personally see a reason why we can't win the league. I think what sold us a little bit last year was just the belief that we could beat the top three teams. We're still yet to take all 3 points from Shells, take all 3 points from Peamount or Wexford. Last year's draw with Peamount was the closest we've gotten to them so far. So we're inching closer and closer. So my hope is that this year we can just be more clinical. We've nothing to fear against, the top three teams, as they say. It's 11v11 at the end of the day, so it's just about us believing in our system and our preparation and taking our chances when they come to us, because that's what those teams do against us. And we can't afford to become complacent this year, essentially.
You mentioned Europe there, just a brief segue. I'm sure, like many others, you'd be hoping the league can eventually become at least semi-professional. We've heard the FAI talk about how they'd like a second tier by 2025, which would be great for the league, more players getting opportunities. And it would be great if eventually European football, we saw maybe a second tier competition like we have the Europa League. We also have the Europa Conference League in the men's football. It would be great to see an expanded Champions League, Europa League. So things could be getting pretty exciting in the next 10 years, even the next 5 years, with that potential second tier coming in.
Massively. And I only had this conversation with someone recently. It's fascinating when I speak to some of the younger players and I just ask them, like, oh, can you see yourself going pro? Is that where you want to be? And it's just like, without a doubt, they're like, oh yeah, like that's the plan. I want to do a couple of years here and then head over to the UK. Whereas like when I was their age, growing up playing football, it was just like, it was a hobby. There was never a pathway into the UK or into professional teams. So the whole script and the whole narrative of how young female footballers see football in Ireland and progressing further has changed entirely. That I find it really, it's such a really interesting contrast when I look at my mindset when I was 15, 16, 17 versus theirs, and how, I suppose, how much higher they can aim for and reach and see potential when they can see that there are players abroad. There are the likes of the Kato and Cabes, pretty much the majority of the women playing in our international setup are all pro footballers, whereas a couple of years ago that it wasn't even a thing. So yeah, any amounts of obviously financial investment into the league is probably one of the biggest things. I mean, one of the biggest restrictions that we have at the moment. But when you compare it to where we were a couple of years ago, it's night and day. I do look back at old photos of us playing for Raheny, and we've got men's extra large jerseys hanging off our backs, and it's unbelievable to see the difference, and it's great to be a part of it as well. It was literally the sky's the limit for the younger players in the league, and even for myself. Like, I'm not selling myself off, but it's just great that pathway has been presented to them, by all the tough work that the people both on and off the pitch, the people who, like yourselves, who do all the coverage, and people who buy tickets for the games, like, that's all carving the way for these young players to go and flourish in a more professional environment,
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a lot more positive. I remember we're not too long off how the international women's team had to buy their own tracksuits, so it's, even in the last 4 or 5 years, things have improved massively. Just want to ask you a few teammate-based questions. So you could take 3 teammates to a desert island with you. You can use whatever criteria you want. Let me know.
Kerry Letman would be my first choice.
Best buddy.
And she makes me laugh. So I think I'd need that if I was on a desert island.
You'd be really upset.
Yeah.
Like, is it?
Yeah,
Does she make you laugh? Can I ask? Does she make you laugh intentionally, or is it by doing stupid things that she doesn't realise?
She's this character that, like, she's like the funniest person I know, but she's no clue that she is. That's what I really like about her. It's so genuine that she just makes me laugh. So definitely Kerry. I'd probably bring Eve, because Eve has a really good rational way of thinking, and I feel like if we ever needed to, like, catch something for dinner or try and cook it, I feel like she'd be like, okay guys, this is what we're going to do, and she wouldn't freak. So she'd be good for the functional parts of the deserted island. And my third player, Catherine Cronin, because she's a nurse, so if we got injured, she'd be able to patch us up.
That was a very practical.
And she's a really good dancer.
That was a very practical way of thinking about it. Most people just kind of rattle off their 3 first players they think of. You put thought into that. Who's the best with music in the dressing room?
This is a very touchy subject, because I would say me, but everyone hates my taste in music.
What is?
So,
please describe your taste in music.
I love Fleetwood Mac.
Absolutely, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, all the oldie bops that, like, half the team don't know because they're all really young. So my music goes down like a lead balloon half the time. I think Katie Malone has great music taste, and Carla is often. So we have a shared playlist on Spotify that everyone adds their music to for match day. So it's a nice mix of everyone's. But Carla would be in charge of the match day tunes, so I'd have to give her Katie Malone the medal for that one.
I don't see how you can go wrong with Fleetwood Mac. Like, I'd be on your side there. I'd be I don't know if it's an age thing, but I just, some of the older music is just a bit better. I mean, some of the stuff,
they're timeless. Yeah.
There's some music is just good, and if someone says it's not, then I don't want to talk to them. But can I ask your worst taste in music? I know you said some of them would say you, but is there anyone you want to call out?
Oh goodness, worst taste. Well, you see now, because we haven't had many bus trips yet, I'm yet to hear
the new people.
Some people's preferences. So I need to get back to you on
Okay,
that.
we can come back
I'll
to
have
you
an
at the end of the
answer
season.
soon.
We'll come back to you at the end
Yeah.
of the season, and it'd be interesting
Yeah.
if the desert island thing changes as well.
Yeah.
Now this is a question that Wexford players have no problem answering, but no other player from a team wants to answer. I ask Wexford players who the biggest whinger in training is, and they all give me the same answer. They all give me the same name. No one even takes a second to think about it. Is there anyone you're willing to call out as a bit of a whinger in training?
Hmm.
They all listen to the show. They're all diehard post sport fan listeners, as we are diehard DLR Waves fans.
I'm interested. I'm trying to think of who all Wexford picks. That's funny.
They all just come up with
Oh
it straight away.
God.
They don't even take a second to say it.
Straight away.
Yeah, they all just go for it.
Um. God, again, I'm stuck there
We're all okay trainers.
because
No one's complaining about having to do
we
it.
are,
Okay.
because the lads don't give you a minute to complain. They say, get on with it. We don't want to hear it.
Anytime
And
I've
that's
been
pretty much how we're conditioned.
Anytime I've been at a training session, it doesn't seem like there's anyone. All the extra players just say Kira Rossi straight away, without
Really?
even a heartbeat. It's like, not that she's lazy, just that she's a whinger. That's whinge bag is the word that was used.
A winch bag. Yeah. I'm going to have a word there now. Yeah, it's just none of the girls moan. They're all so good. Probably me. I probably let out a couple of sighs here and there, but I feel like I get away with it. But yeah, the girls are just so diligent and obedient that they're just like, okay, you want us to do a 1K test? Let's just do it, because we know we're not getting out of it. So
Okay, good. Yeah. Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad DLR's morale is high. Thanks very much, Avril, and I know we'll talk to you a few more times during the season. All the best. I'm sure you can go on and win the league. We're going to be supporting you here at Post Sport. Just a word on Arsenal. Katie McCabe's a bit good.
Katie McCabe's a bit alright. I'm actually heading off now to watch her score another few pingers. What she does best. Do you know what? One of my fondest memories of myself and Katie, we used to travel to and from training together, and we always used to stop in a chipper on the way home and sit and have a chip kebab, myself, her and Rebecca Craig. And I'm just like, I know she plays for Arsenal.
She plays for Arsenal, and she's one of
I must have had one chip too many. I think that's what my problem was.
Are you sure you were getting the same thing as her? Like, I mean, you're.
I think she must have been getting something else. Yeah, I must go back to them now and see what they're putting in her kebabs, because they definitely sold me short. Yeah, but no, she's playing tonight. She's phenomenal, and she's just. Yeah, I just love the fact that she just hasn't changed. She's still cheeky, chappy Katie McCabe. You know, I think that's fantastic for her.
Yeah. To be fair, if you spend that much time around Russia Littlejohn, you'd probably want to be a bit cheeky to survive.
You do. Yeah.
I'd say, yeah. She only scores good goals. That's the thing about her. It's at Post Sport on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube to get all our content. And visit postpost.sport.blog. Just a word on Arsenal. Katie McCabe's a bit good.
Katie McCabe's a bit alright. I'm actually heading off now to watch her score another few pingers. What she does best.
She only
Do you know what?
scores.
One of my fondest memories of myself and Katie, we used to travel to and from training together, and we always used to stop in a chipper on the way home and sit and have a chip kebab, myself, her, and Rebecca Cray. And I'm just like, I know she plays for Arsenal.
She plays for Arsenal, and she's one of
I
our.
must have had one chip too many. I think that's what my problem was.
Are you sure you were getting the same thing as her? Like, I mean, you're.
I think she must have been getting something else.
Special
Yeah, I
sauce
must
or
go back to
something,
now and see what they're putting in her kebabs, because they definitely sold me short. Yeah, but no, she's playing tonight. She's phenomenal,
Yeah, she only
and
scores.
she's just. Yeah, I just love the fact that she just hasn't changed.
Yeah.
She's still cheeky, chappy Katie McCabe. You know, I think that's fantastic for her.
Yeah. To be fair, if you spend that much time around Rushel Littlejohn, you'd probably want to be a bit cheeky to survive.
You
But,
do.